we will get started. So welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 1 of the Caster's Curse featuring featuring myself and Jacob, aka PR. This is a project we've been working on for a while, and so we're super excited to get started on. It's our first time kind of diving into something like this. It's definitely my first time diving into something like this, so I'm super excited for it. Jacob, I know you're excited for it. Thank you for kind of going along this journey with me and seeing kind of where we can go with this.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here as well, just because I always try to make appearances on on the Flank Show, but it just sometimes timing's never worked out, and now I have a couple open moments. I'm ready to dive deep into something like this.
Yeah, I mean, for me, for example, like I said, not coaching anymore. My evenings have changed around a little bit. Obviously, I still have work and that kind of stuff, but these kind of time slots are a little more free than they used to be. So it's been nice to put all this stuff together. It's been a huge learning process for me. Obviously, I did all this stuff with OBS and getting all this stuff set up and graphics and making all this stuff work was one of the most, like, for me, like I said, one of those stressful things ever, but we got it going. So chat, bear with me for the first kind of few episodes as I kind of figure out how to not screw up OBS the best I can. But appreciate y'all being here. Like I said, we're excited. So I think we'll get started with a topic that I'm looking forward to talking about, because I am now your Season 2 Gears of War Esports All-Star Champion. Team was drafted with the number 1 pick of Identivs, one of the Kings, and my last pick was yet another King. So I had basically a King sandwich of an All-Star team. We didn't look too hot first week. Second week we came out, looked a lot better, and it's all about hitting your stride at the right time. And third week we are champions. Jacob, we ended up playing your team, of course, taking that victory. I mean, you know how I feel. So I guess I'll toss the question over how you feel.
I honestly feel like the squad didn't play up to their full potential. Obviously, it's a pickup team as well. I mean, who shows up and plays? I didn't think they played to their full potential, but I do know one thing. I do know one thing. Your team kind of cheated.
We cheated,
I
huh?
call you guys cheaters. Yeah, Team Ryan asterisk. Go ahead. You guys
Okay.
had two SKs. You guys had two SKs. It's against the rules. It's all right though. We'll give you one.
You had Gilbert, so like even out. Like, I don't know.
You know
I
why?
feel like yeah, I feel like that would give us something, right? And I'll tell you what the factor was here. Actually, the factor here was that this week we used Discord because you are
Oh,
hosting
okay.
Mr. Identives over at your crib at the Ghost Gaming headquarters. We have been using Xbox Live Party Chat in 2019 for our first few matches, and so now that we're using Discord, it's just, I mean, at that point there's levels, right? Now, talk about full potential, right? You'd say
Discord's way better.
team and player potential. Our team had Discord; they could hear each other. In the first week, we lost to Blaze's team. The Xbox Live Party just crashed in general, and then Choche was playing on a hot spot. So when my team, and then Choche's internet, of course, died again today, but it's something they ended up figuring it out. But my team faced adversity. We were up against what looked like a god squad on paper. I didn't believe it, and here we are as champions.
They really did. I'm not even gonna still say anything. You won, but I still had the greatest All-Star team of all time. I don't care.
I got the trophy though.
You do, but
I gotta make sure I call out Fallout too, because Fallout was throwing some shade at the squad. I was like, I know what you're thinking, bro. I got everything, and I got marketability. I got the Kings of Latin America, so I got the community, I got the slang, I got the leadership, I got the clutch. You saw that clutch factor. The man Billy Goat holding down home hills on his own.
yeah. I will say though, you guys definitely showed up to play, especially Danny actually. 'Cause it was Chaos versus Danny majority of the time, I believe, and walking in there, taking a peek into the room after while they're playing. Even the other guys are crowded around because I have like a good screen up there for them so they can watch their VODs and stuff. But we had the stream up there, so overall a very exciting experience. And honestly, as long as one of my guys won, pretty happy overall.
Yeah, I mean, they get money for that too, which is pretty cool, right? I think it's
Yep.
like $1,000 a piece. Might have to take a little cut of that, you know what I'm saying, for putting together, being the GM of the God Squad. But no, seriously, that was super fun. I think, like, obviously, we talked about the draft format. The format itself was something that kind of threw some curveballs at all of us. We were kind of speculating what would be some of the best formulas, would be some of the best kind of strategies going into that draft. So that was pretty fun. Like I said, the strategy I personally went with was kind of the idea of basing it off of wagers, right? And basing it off of the people, for one, people that play wagers, and then two, people that are good at wagers, right? Like I a lot of times at nighttime when they play, I watch some of these guys, so I knew like Fran plays a ton of wagers, obviously from when he was on my team. I knew Avexis plays a ton of wagers, and obviously a really good Slayer. And so you want players who, for one, know kind of how wagers play, but two, like know how to be in those situations where like you're not supposed to win them, right? Situations where it's like a 2v1, sometimes even a 3v1, right? And they're not really supposed to get out alive, but they do, right? Because these guys have been doing this for a while. And then of course, like I told you, Billy Go kind of fell into my hands. I didn't expect to get after picking Danny. I did not expect Billy to fall into my hands, so that helped a lot too.
He actually played really well tonight too. Not saying that he doesn't ever not play well, but he played really well for you guys. And like I said, my team didn't look like themselves, but I mean that's the name of the game, especially staying up on All Star Day.
Yeah, I mean, like I think on the first map, Gilbert didn't have a kill through like 6 or 7 rounds or something like that. Something
I
like,
remember at one point he's 1-9.
yeah, the casters kept talking about it.
Yeah,
I was like, I don't know if like
surprised.
someone else picked up his controller or something. What was going on? 'Cause that was very, very uncharacteristic of him. But like I said,
I'm
Jake.
excited to see next year's in Gears 5 because obviously this is
Hmm.
something all games do, All Star.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see next year's what Rising Stars kind of make a name for themselves and earn an All Star spot.
Yeah, for sure. I would like to see also it'd be cool next time to maybe like play the finals on LAN. I think that'd be
Yeah,
a
I mean
diff-
they did it last year on land.
Yeah, I remember the whole thing was on LAN last year. It was a different format last year, but maybe next time doing something like that where they play on LAN, that'd be kind of cool for the fans too and things like that. But no, it's cool. I mean, fun for the players, obviously. I know that was super fun for the fans. Like I think even Summons was on Twitter saying like, dude, these must be like lit to watch for fans. And I know even though we had teams, obviously we had horses in the race. I had a great time watching it just because people you don't normally see playing together and obviously just people that you like Speedy and Rushies get to play together again, for example, right? You see combinations of guys from the Optic, roster that have playing with other players. So I think that was a super cool factor to it.
Yeah, and that's something that, in my opinion, reason why things like this should go on more often. I think maybe finals on land. That's the only thing I would change, really.
Yeah, for sure. And then instead of like the banners at the front with the team names, they all have to say free burger. That's my stipulation, right? So free burger in front of all of the monitors. But yeah, I mean, like I said, I guess in terms of All Stars, I mean, I don't know how much there really is to say after that. I think that, looking on paper, I know you guys are giving me a little shit about my team, but I thought that it was going to be your team and my team in the finals. Obviously, you had that super, super big core with Explosive and then the Speedy Rushy combo who've won championships together. So I think it would be foolish not to have thought your team would be in the finals. But I guess from there, we did have a three-way tie, don't get me wrong. There was a three-way tie
Yeah.
to make it out of the pools. So luckily, we got out there. But I had faith the whole time.
I think it came from like those 7-0s against Blazes team that you had. That was probably killer and led to your success. And then we 7-0'd one of Blazes teams as well.
I had to go back to
And then
look when I was looking at the tiebreaker and I was like DMing Cat and stuff. Like, dude,
it really went down pretty far.
the formula to get to the tiebreaker is like it's like a friggin' 10 line of code, like whole formula. It was yeah. I couldn't even figure out myself. I said, Cat, like you guys just let me know. Hopefully we make it through. Colin told me beforehand. Colin goes after we won the match. He goes, no matter what happens in the next one, you guys make it through. And I was like, I don't think so. Like I was looking at it, it didn't make sense. But then Cat ran the numbers and said, no, like you make it through no matter what. So I guess maybe
Was it because of the head-to-head against Colin,
so the head to head.
or is it map count?
Well, the head to head, so like it's like layered, right? So and then the layers change too because then they go into like play where it's like at first it's about all the teams in the tie, and then once it goes past that, then it becomes certain numbers in the head to head. But then other maps and rounds get thrown out that weren't against the head to head, and like it
Oh,
because
okay.
not
Okay,
necessarily
yeah,
against
yeah.
each other, but like more so like one team's rounds versus the other team's rounds. Not necessarily the rounds versus each other, but the rounds total. Where you
Total.
take it, dude. It was super super stressful. Like, I was like, dude, I was running the
Yeah,
numbers.
like I can only imagine. That's why me and Blaze were obviously casting Fight Night, and we were
Hmm.
talking about like how it would get, and then like we kind of realized, okay, Team Ryan's kind of making this last match go pretty far. He kind of got it no matter what happens, especially since you guys, I believe, won the first map in that
Yeah,
actual match. So I mean, either way, congratulations to you guys. I'm a little salty, but overall, like I said, I'm just happy one of my guys won.
yeah, I mean, it was for me. It was a super fun thing to watch. For me, it was fun because I got to obviously have a franchise on one of my teams again. Obviously, him and I have a huge history together, so we finally lifted another trophy together. I guess it's been sort of a drought since since we won, so that was cool too. But like I said, super super fun all around. I guess we can kind of go ahead and wrap that topic up. Hopefully next year, you and I get to be involved again. That was something that I had a ton of fun being a part of. So I'm very thankful that they chose me to be a part of that. Obviously, it was either going to be myself or Jordan, someone kind of representing the analyst crew. So maybe we get
Yeah.
Jordan in there next year too, so I can beat him up too. But
You just trying to take everybody out of this
I'm
fight.
saying I mean, I got to get back, right? Defending champion. And next year we're getting team names, and my team name is Free Burger. That's all you got to know.
Oh, nice. Unless
But
he's already free.
that's true, actually. Burger could be free by then. What if Burger's free in Gears 5? Can you guys imagine a world where Burger's free?
They're not ready. They're not ready.
Oh my
No one's
god!
ready.
I don't think we can have a world like I can't fathom that a free burger world. But if we talk about free burgers as a topic, I'll be on here for 3 hours. So we need to move on. The next topic we're gonna go with is going to be the pool play draw. So I have I need Jake to maybe check the stream. I have a little bit of a graphic going that has all the pools, and I'll really quickly show that on the stream for you guys. This is our current pools, and so we have Pool A with Optic, Simplicity, Fire and Ice. An open bracket team, obviously. Pool B is going to have Reciprocity, Mazer, Horus Esports. Pool C is going to be Bloody. It's going to have Rise Nation, Ghost Gaming, Men of Steel. And then Pool D is going to have Elevate, Bread Tortures, and Denial Esports. So I think, Jacob, the biggest one that sticks out here is obviously going to be Pool C. That is going
I
to be
100% think so.
bloody.
I agree with you.
You're in town with the Ghost Gaming guys right now. Did they kind of have like any, what were their kind of their thoughts, I guess, on that pool? Because that's going to be spicy.
I mean, these guys, honestly, since picking these guys up, they've always been up for the challenge, no matter what it would be, especially since Danny's going back, reuniting with his guys. Um, to me, they're just ready for the opportunity to play again and ready for the opportunity for redemption. Because for a lot of people who saw map number one against in the losers finals in Mexico against Optic, Ghost Gaming came out to play. They came out swinging. They completely shut down Praise in that match. And then as the maps went on, 2 and 3, obviously they didn't come out on top. So they're ready for redemption. They don't really care who's in their pool because they plan on coming out on top. And just to me, I love the overall vibe and confidence coming out from these guys. And I'm ready to watch them play. I'm always ready to watch them play. I'll go in there right now and watch them play. That's how ready I am.
Yeah, for me, I think if you're Men of Steel right now, you're like, man, like of all the pools to end up in, that is such a tough one, just because obviously Men of
Yeah.
Steel being a pretty new team that was put together recently, a lot of great players in that team. But I mean, if there's one pool you don't want to be in, it is a pool with Rise Nation, who a lot of people right now are calling kind of the number one contender to potentially beat Optic. And then obviously you have a Ghost Gaming team who's been looking very, very good since Identim's moved back home. So yeah, if you're them, that's definitely not a pool you want to end up in. But for me, I guess prediction wise, it would be probably dumb not to take Ghost and Rise in that one. In what order? I mean, dude, it's going to come down to the matchup between those two teams for me, in terms of who comes out on top. But that's going to be a tough one.
And I honestly think Rise, and I said it to Blaze on Fight Night. I said it before. Rise is, like you said, one of the teams that I think that can beat Optic, and the reason being because the way the game is turning out and the way teams are beginning to play, a lot of teams are turning into that head down W key rush
Yep.
style of play that became successful. Ghost really became successful for it. Obviously, Optic does a style of it, but they're more planned and strategy, and I think that's the reason why Reciprocity kind of is still one of those teams that can be Optic, but kind of has those speed bumps. Is they still kind of play too methodically, where sometimes Optic, you even say it, Praised even says it, there's just some certain things that can't happen. Rushies has that factor for sure. The players on Rise are certainly learning it over and over. You see, especially the way Powers is developing. Powers is on that team can literally do whatever he wants. No one's really going to tell Powers anything.
Yeah, I mean,
So you got to be able to do that on teams.
Yeah, I mean, coming off of Mexico, right, we saw Ghost looking super, super scary, right? Part of that you got to take a grain of salt, and I know they're your guys, but you have to sort of take that with somewhat of a grain of salt, just because, like I said, they were in Mexico, right? They were in an environment where, I mean, you talk about the vibes and esports, like vibes for that team couldn't have been higher, right? You're in Mexico City. Every fan in the building wants a picture with you. Every time you get a kill, the whole place erupts for you. So like that's obviously like the sixth man, so to speak, right? And so that's one thing that I'm keeping track of in my own mind. But obviously they looked super, super hot. And then obviously again you have Rise Nation, who's been playing super, super well online. Obviously winning 2Ks, and they didn't play with Powers at the event, so we haven't seen them together on LAN in quite some time, right? Last time we did, I think, was what
Columbus.
The Columbus Invitational, where they did get second, took out that Fury team that was obviously some of the core of this new Reciprocity team. So that's a matchup again I'm looking forward to a ton. Just kind of hop back over the pools. One other thing that sticks out to me, really, I mean, Optic, Simplicity, Fire and Ice, I think that's pretty straightforward. I think, one matchup to look forward to is going to be actually in Pool B, and that's going to be Reciprocity versus Mazer. I only say that because Mazer has looked pretty hot lately. We're going to get to it when we talk about the 2K, but they end up making the finals of the last 2K. A team that when I first saw on paper, I was like, how the hell did this team get formed together, right? Like, what sorcery?
I don't even know how these guys talk to each other.
Yeah, what sorcery happened to where the Mazer core ends up with Crushmo and Lava? But it seems to be working pretty well. Like I said, finals of the 2K. One little thing that I keep in mind is that, and again, different roster, but this core of this team also did take out my Echo Fox team at New Orleans. Obviously, we continue to beat them on late in the tournament, but they're a team that, against a franchise-led team has at least beat them before. So while I do think that should be a business as usual Reciprocity, 2-0, you would think. They've been playing really well lately, and Reciprocity hasn't looked as good as they normally do lately. So that's one matchup I'm definitely keeping in mind.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. One thing I'll say about Mazer is when I was watching this 2K finals, Crushmo really surprised me. And granted, I only heard Crushmo's voice throughout of it, but the Crushmo was
Sure.
calling numbers, he was calling plays, making sure everyone stayed alive. He was LBing across the map and making sure that people knew they were alone or if they had help. And that's something like I heard a lot of rumors and criticism from Crushmo on LAN, especially like shutting down. People will say he has the tendency to shut down on land. So I'm interested to see how he's going to go from there. But if this is the crush mode we see at a Mazer, I'm really surprised. I'm actually impressed by the way this team's been performing lately.
Yeah, I mean, Crushmo has the skill and the aptitude to be one of the I say all the time, I'm the leader of the Crushmo is elite fan club, right? That you see me in every single stream from forever ago. Crushmo is elite in all caps, right? Like he can be the best, but like you said, he has had a history of sometimes doing things like shutting down, or his mind might be in a different place, and so there's going to be times where like I said, if you get the best version of Crushmo, he's one of the best players in the world, right? So there's it's a matter of, to me, and again, this Crushmo's one of my best friends in Gears of War, right? So and I'll still say this very honestly, like depending on what version of him he decides to bring to the event, I think is going to really set the tone to this Mazer team. Because again, you have a core that's been doing pretty well together, has played together before, and then obviously Lava's been in the mix. Lava's won championships. Lava knows how to compete against the best players in the world. So it's a team that while again was really odd when it came together. It seems to be working. Like I said, to my surprise.
I'm just surprised the old Mazer team broke up still. Like I'm thinking about it right now. Like
Yeah, that was odd to me too.
it's just so odd and random. And they were playing so well. They were consistently doing well. It's just they couldn't close out certain aspects or certain situations, and it's just like what happened.
They to me were a team that, like I said, while I was surprised that they broke up, at the same time I guess it sort of makes sense, just because they were a team that, like, dude, they were always looking so good on like Friday, Saturday, and like head toe in toe against some of the best teams in the world, right? But to me, they never seemed to quite get it done on Sunday, right? They just always seem to come up short for some reason. Right when they look like they can compete with the best in the world, one round away against teams like Optic, like then it just falls apart on Sunday, right? And so I think maybe it came down to that. Maybe it was a time where they felt like they hit their own cap, and something had to be changed. Like I said, they kind of split in weird directions. Like I said, Speedy ends up on this Man of Steel team that to me is still super.
It's
We
still out
talk
of
about
nowhere
Mazer.
to me.
Yeah, this other team is just equally kind of out of nowhere to me too. So definitely a team that I'm looking forward to seeing. Maybe this new roster is what can get them kind of over the hump on a Sunday where the old team couldn't.
Then Horus Esports, is that's the number two EU
That's the
team,
number two
right?
European team. Yeah, I think that's the team that Nunes beat in Mexico.
Yeah, I think so as well,
I'm not sure if it's
or,
the
or
same
at least
core.
portions of it. But about these pools, to me, it's just like at least the first three pools, you kind of know a couple teams that's gonna win, but there's always upset potential.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Always.
to me, like look at Pool D. Like Pool
Well,
D,
yeah,
Pool D to me is one that,
like
that could go a few different ways too. Bread Tortures haven't been looking the best online, but I mean it's a team full of players that are going to compete. I think one of my biggest question marks coming into Boston is, I mean, this is our last event. What version of Elevator are we going to get, man? I keep saying on the desk, I keep thinking like they're going to come back, and it just continues to not look like we're used to seeing out of those guys. And so that's a team that I'm really hoping that they come out with everything in the world. Said this is the last event of Gears of War 4. That's where I'm hoping they really pull their pants up and show us the team that we're used to seeing from them. Right, this is a team that for the longest time everyone was saying like could be one of the biggest contenders to Optic.
no, I agree, especially when they had what is it, Marsh on the team.
Yeah, I do think they were better with Marsh.
I agree. You can kind of see it. That the proof is in the pudding. Either that, or maybe they've just been having like a downfall. Maybe they're not putting the same amount of time and effort into it as before. Maybe they're not practicing the same ways. But I want to speak of this denial team because like to me, I this is where the question mark is I really don't know how they're gonna perform because this is kind of the main core, the main. I think it's 4 out of 5 in the old PJJ
PJJ, yeah,
roster. So
PJJ.
I'm just like they kind of hit their cap near the top 12 area, and then that's when I do believe Heza kind of took the opening on another roster. Some of the yellow roster stayed the same, and then Frag Out was on another and it's just like
Yep.
so that they're kind of trying the same exact pieces, and this is where I kind of understand that certain these people in the community are like, you just recycling players over and over. You just recycle. It's kind of what we are seeing until these up and comers kind of prove themselves. But that's where it's like these up and comers got to stay on the same team. That's where I'm just like that was a question mark to me in this pool. I almost think since it's Pool D, the number one open bracket team is going to come in here. I can even see maybe Denial getting upset by the open bracket team.
That's the point I was going to make soon. So
Yeah.
one of the things I'm looking forward to is what pool Hive is going to go into, and we're going to talk about this a little bit with the 2K. But I want to know what pool Hive is going to go into because that is going to turn everything on its head. Whatever pool
Ooh.
Hive goes into is going to have a struggle, and if they go into Reciprocity's pool, for example, that
I
could
think Hive,
cause some
yeah,
trouble.
C or B pool.
Yeah, so like I know Hive, for example, I talked to Xovius in my chat who's here the other day and was talking about just we asked him kind of what are some of the matchups you're looking forward to the most because he has a lot to prove. That team has a lot to prove. They couldn't play together in Mexico, and he was saying I think the two teams he wants to play the most are going to be Reciprocity and Rise. I think Rise probably because of Vic, but Reciprocity because of the whole footage gate thing and all that going on. And they seem to actually play Rec pretty close, and that old Hive team used to play my old Echo Fox team really close too. And so you know my opinion on these guys. Like to me. Hive is kind of the future stars of Gears of War, right? Or at least one of the groups of future teams too. And so that's a team that I always love looking out for because, like I said, we're going to see these guys progress. There's a new set of pros, a new set of young players in every single game, and so I'm looking forward to seeing their progression. I wish that we had a couple more events because I think that they're kind of starting to hit their stride late in the season, and so it'd be cool to kind of see them continue to kind of to get better. But there's a new game, and that could even mean more opportunity for them for all we know. But whatever team gets them in their pool, and I'm looking at the chat right now, I'm seeing Avexi say they could go into D. Force is saying we should be in B or C. So man, take a look at the pools real quick. Can you imagine if they end up in C also? If we have Rise,
That's
Ghost,
gonna
Men
be
of Steel, and Hive, that would be out of control. And I guess part of it's going to come down to how the open bracket is seeded because I think Avexi saying they're the highest seed, but like you said in the chat, like it sometimes it goes to other regions players, right, or other regions teams. It could go to a Latin American team, a European team. So Cyclone, obviously one of the teams that came out of the Last Chance qualifier, could go to them as well. So man, if they go into C, which I mean, if they're the second seed in Open, and in the first seed goes into D, I don't believe that the region rules that are from the pool draw apply to the the Open going in. So they'd go into to Pool D. If Cyclone makes out, they'd go into Pool D with Elevate, another European team, and then Hive would be slotted into Pool C potentially if they're the number one seed NA, and that gives them the number two in Open. That would be
I'm honestly interested to see
fucking
how Zovios
crazy.
plays in general. Oh, Zovios is on that team, right? He's officially on that team.
As far as I know, yeah.
Because I've been watching scrims with him on that team, and I'm excited to see how this kid plays. To me, he's one of the biggest trolls, and people still like come at this kid not thinking they're going to get a troll response or get a troll reaction out of him, and just I don't know. I think this kid is very aggressive. He has a bright future in terms of mechanical skill. I think he needs to be honed a little bit more and brought under somebody's wing. But I'm excited to see this kid play.
I mean, he fits this team really well. Those are his boys, right? Like,
Yep, 100%. He has that aggressive play style, just like they do.
If we had never picked up Powers, for example, right? Powers would be on this team. Like they're a part of that group together. So, like I said, obviously this is Xovio's first event, and so I'm excited to see how he comes out. I mean, as we know at this point, man, like, and some of the OGs might disagree. Like at this point, dude, like online and LAN, while they are different games for sure, like are more similar now than they've ever been, right? Back in our day, when you shot online, the bullet came out like 20 minutes late, right? Nowadays, it doesn't do that anymore. And so, like I said, the shot hitting and things like that are pretty similar now. And so, like I said, it's going to come down to just to nerves at that point and just to make sure that he plays the same online as he does on LAN. And so, looking forward to him, looking forward to that team for sure. And man, if they go into Pool C, that is going to be trouble because they're good. No, that team is really good.
I think best bet for them is B or D. They just need to like skip down. I don't think they're going to Pool D. I do Cyclone. Those guys have shown they can make it out of pool play from Open. They started in pool play before and played well. Some of those guys. So I do believe they're going to come out of pool play. So I do believe Hive would be second or third seed depending. So I think they're going to end up at C or B. I really do think Hive's going to end up at C or B.
Yeah, I mean, assuming that they're the second seed in Open, which if they give Cyclone the first seed, assuming they're the second seed in Open, that's going to put them in there. That would be crazy. See, like
that's gonna be
Hive's one of my like dark horse picks for top 6. Like, and
they've done it before.
Yeah, like I said, like but no one talks about it right now because they haven't played together in a while because of Mexico, right? It's because of the age limit. And so I said no one's talking about them. They're my team, and maybe dark horse isn't even the right word for it because, like I said, they have been there before. So they're a team that I think can totally be up in there. And David, answer your question. The Orlando Reapers now go by Bread Torturers. I'm not sure what happened there.
Bread Torturers, but no.
But now they got picked up by Fable now. Yeah.
Yeah, on this thing, it's Bread Torturers, but they're actually Fable.
Right. Yeah, that was announced, I believe, today, actually. And so, yeah, they went from the Orlando Reapers to now being called, well, then with Bread Torturers and then over to Fable. A lot of movement going on there. But to kind of circle back to your point about Denial, yeah, man, I know it's a part of the old PJJ team that came up together. A lot's changed since then. I'm not really sold on that team, man. I know you can never count out a team with Yogurt on it. Yogurt's been doing this for a while. He's had good events in Gears 4 too, but how player stock works. His player stock just isn't that high anymore, and so like I said, I just don't think that's a team that's going to be. I just don't see them being super competitive. I don't know. I mean, that pool. I don't look at that pool as very strong in the first place, and so they could totally make it out of that pool depending on who gets slotted into it. But they're a team that I'm not too confident. I guess I would say.
Yeah, no, that's kind of why I brought it up. And then I think Fire and Ice is not to single out down. I think Fire and Ice is maybe in that same boat. Maybe Horse Esports as well. They just might be outmatched. You know what I mean? I think the third
Yeah.
team in a lot of these pools just aren't up to par with the remaining two teams, except for Pool C. Obviously, I think Pool C, everybody's gonna have to come out swinging from the start because if you put yourself in a hole in Pool C, I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got to assume, like I said, Simplicity and Optic, that'll probably be the two teams that come out of A. Reciprocity, Mazer, probably the teams that come out of B, because I don't think a super, super strong team will be third and open. And then C and D, to me, are the ones that are kind of up in the air for, obviously, a few different reasons. I think in Pool D, I'm still going to give Elevate, like I said, I'm still going to give them the nod and think that they're going to come out. But like I said, I think at this point, man, like Pool C is all anyone cares about. Let's be honest. Like
Yeah,
Pool C, in
100%.
terms of storylines, in terms of matchups, you're not going to get any better action than Pool C because there are some huge, huge heavy hitting teams there. And
I can already guarantee you're gonna get Ghost versus Rise on main stage at 8 or 6 o'clock.
100%. That is the marquee matchup, and obviously,
Yep.
like Optic always jokes the fact that they don't get really that many main stage matches on Friday, and it's because like I said, I would rather watch that matchup. Let's be honest. Like I know Optic's the
Most
best,
people
but
should.
dude, that match is going to be absolute blood. We talk about two teams with pretty similar play styles, two very very aggressive teams, two teams with a lot to prove. I would say I still think like I said, I still think Ghost has a lot to prove in terms of like I said they're still a new team. Only played one event together, and that one event was Mexico. So I still think they need to solidify themselves as kind of a top four team because we're already kind of crowning them a top four team. And so while I do think that they are that good, I think that they need one more event to kind of cement that.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just trying to.
I'm taking a look at the
I
chat real
just feel
quick.
bad for like Speedy's team because they, like you said, I think Speedy's team
Oh
is
yeah.
gonna come out swinging. I think they out of every third team in every pool, I think they have the most upset potential. I just feel bad because if Rise Nation comes out hot and Ghost comes out hot,
I mean,
it's
dude,
so
and think about
hard.
like we talk about Hyde might go into that pool, so dude, there's an opportunity for Speedy's team to potentially get fourth in that pool.
Yeah, that's.
I mean,
I just want to fast forward to be there. I want to see what Pool C looks like.
yeah, dude, like if you were to give me like the some of the rankings of that, like you probably give like I said, I still think that Hive's gonna make a good run, but you still got to kind of think that Rise and Ghost probably round out the top two, in whatever order, because that match is gonna kind of determine it. But I mean, from there, like I take Hive over Men of Steel personally. I think that they team has been together a lot longer, team with all the skill in the world. They a little bit of chip on their shoulder. They couldn't play together last event, so they got a lot to prove. I know they're pretty hungry for that. So yeah, that's gonna be something else, man.
Yep. Still have confidence in Ghost though.
Of course you do. I got confidence in them too. Like I said, I do think they're still a top four caliber team. I just want to see it one more event, which I think is pretty fair, especially when that
Yeah.
one event was Mexico.
Yeah. No, 100%. They hometown, home field
Sell,
advantage.
sell,
It helps a ton.
selling merchandise with their faces on it, like what I'm saying, like the whole crowd rooting for you. They
Dude,
got
the
they
amount
got your.
of counterfeit Ghost merchandise that we saw.
I need to see as many. You know what I know will make it when there's counterfeit free burger shirts. That's when I know
Oh
we'll make it.
God.
I need to see all the free burger shirts in the crowd at Boston. But moving on, the next topic on our list is going to be the 2K, and I only put this in there because I know 2K stuff can be a little redundant sometimes, but this was a kind of interesting weekend for the 2K. One that I didn't necessarily kind of, I guess, expect. I keep waiting, and those are my guys, but I keep waiting for Reciprocity to look better, and they're still not looking that much better. This week they go out to Hive, and the two big upsets I want to talk about are going to be obviously, Rec losing to Hive, and then I believe what was Mazer. Wait, yeah, and then Mazer beat Optic. That's obviously the biggest one. I think that the Mazer Optic one I want to talk about second because I think first off, I just since we were already talking about them, want to kind of get your thoughts on why Hive has seen some success against Rec. As I said, they feel confident in that matchup.
Yeah. No. I think Hive feels confident in that matchup because they realize that Reciprocity is going to be one of those teams that try and play a little bit more team oriented, right? And this is something I talked about in the beginning of the show, where I think the game's meta has turned into where you need to be a team-oriented, aggressive style. And I think, yes, you got Rushies, you got Icy, you got Sleepy, you got Rezik and Fran, but I just think these new guys are going to be playing so aggressive out of their minds. It's going to take Reciprocity to really hone in on their team skills. And I know these guys are land players. Reciprocity is 100% land players. They're going to play better than how they've been playing recently. I just think Hive does have an opportunity to truly upset Reciprocity in a way that they probably won't see coming.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I said, you know my kind of my thoughts and opinions on the core of this team with Reciprocity. They're a team that I know is going to be better at the tournament. They're a team that is historically full of players who all get better at tournaments. And so, while like I said, they're still my pick to get in the top two to make the finals. I'm not really sure what's going on with them because, like I said, even when like my old Echo Fox team would struggle or your old Ghost team would struggle because this team is kind of a composition of those two teams. It didn't last very long and they'd always kind of turn it around. And so for me to see them again not looking as good, I don't know. Again, now you and I are no longer in the back end, so we're no longer there for the practices. We're no longer there to see kind of what's going on, what the practice schedule's looking like, what the practice quality's looking like, what Sundays are looking like. So we're not really there for it anymore. So like I said, we're kind of on the outside looking in at this point, which is something that you and I haven't really been accustomed to with some of these guys.
Yep.
But again, I'm going to continue to say I think that this Hive team is legit, and so I think that plays into part of it too. And we know that. That they like this matchup. And so, like I said, I think that, some of my teams in the past have struggled against hyper aggressive teams, right? The Ghost team kind of started getting our number on it, right? Like I said, we saw that this team showed some success against us. Obviously, Optic, a very, very aggressive team, has given me more headaches than I could probably count in 3 lifetimes. And so, I think that I guess the combination of the aggressive play style and again they seem to throw you on your toes a little bit, right? They kind of seem to do things a little differently, and maybe that is kind of some of the new meta forming and shifting and with some of these new guys.
I think it also comes down to in Gears of War in general, flatline Gears of War, there's a certain way to play the game. Everyone knows there's a certain way to play
Yep.
the game, and even with Gears of War 4 being a little bit different, there's a certain way to play Gears of War 4. I think the problem comes when, and I think a few people have been saying it, but I know I've been saying this since the beginning of the game. The best play isn't always the smartest play. So yes, there's a
Yeah.
certain way to play Gears of War, but the best play might be to play the game wrong sometimes, and I think that's what is ailing Reciprocity right now, specifically when it comes to the Optic versus franchise matchup. I think a lot of his teams in general, not specifically because of franchise, but I think his teams in general might be playing a little bit too right or expecting too much of the right thing to happen when the best play might be for them to be stupid and kind of just push you for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, with my old Envy team, right? We used to always talk about back in the day, like how we were this like team fire oriented team. We were this team that had the best teamwork. We were all this, that, and the other, right? And we would always lose, right? We would always obviously we won one of them, but we'd always seem to come up short. And so I do think, like you said, I do agree with you. There is a way to play the game. I think one of things are not, that aren't supposed to happen, right? I think we just talked about the All Star stuff. We just watched Billy, for example, hold down an entire home hill by himself in ways that you would never expect. And so I think at this point in the game's been out for so long, like you have to be hyper aggressive, and not to say that that Reciprocity doesn't have aggression, right? They have Rushies, one of the most aggressive players in the game, if not maybe the most aggressive player in the game, right? They have the Slayers,
Yeah.
but they do play at a still a different pace, right? And while I personally think that actually it seems to kind of suit Rushy, I think Rushies has looked better than he has all season in my eyes. I think he's one of the most, despite being one of the best Slayers, already has improved crazy since that whole benching ordeal happened. But I do agree. I think it probably comes down to pacing, and one thing in Gears of War, man, that is so important in Gears 4 is confidence. And what is one thing that young players don't do is give a shit. They don't care. Period.
Yep.
They don't care who you are. One of the biggest reasons that we loved Powers so much, and I loved having him on my team, we wanted to pick him up, is because that kid respected nobody, right? And I'm sure Rise loves that too. That kid respects absolutely nobody in the map. He doesn't care what your gamer tag is, doesn't care what you're doing, doesn't care who you are, what jersey you're wearing. He is confident against the worst player in the lobby and the best player in the lobby. And so I think that these kids are cut from that same cloth because, I mean, and I don't mean to keep calling them kids, but they are kind of kids, right? So like they're young players who've all been playing together for a while, and so I think that they kind of embody this kind of new age form of Gears, and so I think that's what's making them super strong. And again, I have them making a run. Hopefully they don't let me down and get like top 16 and make me look stupid, but I think that they're a big team to look out for.
I agree with you 100% there. I'm trying to think if there's any team that we kind of forgot.
What's up, Vic? We got Vic in the chat too. And yeah, Chad, if you guys have any questions for us, man, let me know and just kind of shoot them our way. Like I said, this isn't super formal.
Nunez's team, that's the number one seed. Actually, Nunez's team is, according to the 2K list at least, Nunez's team has the ninth seed and Beehive has the 10th. So if Nunez's team makes it out of open, it would be Nunez's team going to Pool C. And
big,
then that means
big,
Hive
big,
to reciprocity.
big Noonie up against the Titans. I need that.
I'm just trying to look at this list, see if there's like anybody who forgot Lux. Let me see who this Lux roster is. Braveheart and them. They
Are
made
they are they
noise
going
when
to, are they going to the event though?
I don't know if they're actually going to the event. I assume they might be simply because Lanarchy left them to go play with Domes, I
Right,
believe, and
right.
then they replaced them with Shio. So I would assume if they're picking up replacements.
Yo, listen, man. Free burger. Rise Nation in the chat. Free burger, bro. You know what it is. Sorry, I had to get that out of the way first. We got a lot of free burgers in the chat. And like I said, we're part of a movement. This episode this is the caster's curse. So this is also part of the movement. But no, I didn't know that Nunez's team. Actually, now that I think about it, now that you say that, I actually do remember him mentioning that they just missed pool play, and so that'll be interesting too. I guess that would put Hive, I guess, in Pool B then, correct? Let's take a look
Yeah,
back at the pools.
in theory it should put them in Pool B, but I also don't know what happens to the second because there's four European teams, and two of them made it into
Right.
the last chance qualifier. I don't know how the second European team gets seeded.
So is there a situation
Uh,
where Hive could go to even A then, depending on how they seed the European teams?
if the
But
number
but
two
that
European team
also
gets seeded for before them, yes, they could go to A, but I don't think that
but
happens.
that also assumes though that the top seeds win, right? So like that assumes that Nunez's
True.
team as the first seed makes it out, and then the European teams makes it out, and then the Latin American team makes it out. So there's that to think about as well. It's kind of hard
We've
to, I
seen upsets
guess.
before in an open bracket.
Right, like I said, with teams that have been number one seeds have lost. I don't think there's any team from Australia coming. Usually they get a pretty high seed, but I don't believe that they have anyone coming this time.
But they
Um,
would get auto the eighth seed,
they would get
usually.
they usually get a pretty high seed in open. At least it used to be
Yeah.
high. Maybe it's gotten lower over time, but
I think recently they got like a top eight seed. Yeah, like you said, top eight seed in open just because of the region. They can't get pro points, so they automatically get that seed.
okay. And Pester, he asked, who is Burger? Burger Fresh with two H's is a long time member of the Gears of War community. An ex-pro coach for many years. He was a big part of the Hypestation movement that kind of kept Gears of War alive for all of these years during our downtime, and that whole Hypestation era is kind of a big part of why we were able to get Gears of War for esports. And so he's locked down by the shackles of corporate America and society, and so we're doing our best as Gears of War to pull him out of and pull him into freedom, I should say. So, free burger.
And into the next stages of life.
Free, you gonna see me if I'm on that E League, man. Free burger on TBS. I'm gonna get
That's every sentence for you.
that's at Turner Studios. I'm gonna get Shaq to say free burger. Can you imagine? At that point, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? If
Gonna
Shaquille
find
O'Neal
Shaq
says
in
free
the
burger,
back.
it's over for everyone.
He's either free
Just
or
click my mic up.
Shaq's a lie.
Definitely so, but yeah, like I said, definitely a big question mark, I guess, coming to these pools is that's one thing. It used to be back in the day. It used to be that who came out of pools didn't really matter. Honestly, can you remember?
Yeah.
Kind of, especially in season one, there used to be times where like you would play your matches and then you're like, okay, like what time do we wax the open bracket team match to determine what time you woke up, what time you got breakfast, like what time you go warm up, but it didn't really matter.
Usually it's just a warm
It was just a warm up. It was like
for most of these teams.
yeah, it's like let's just tighten up a few things on a certain map. That's when you maybe take the opportunity to play a map that you might use as like a kind of an ace in the hole. But nowadays, like some of these teams that come out of open are tough. I mean, we saw I want to say it was in New Orleans with my team. The reason we played Optic in the first round of champ was because I think it was Domes' team came through open and beat, like I think he beat now is Ghost, but it was I can't remember what they were called. It was sort of an R.
Van Amke?
Ronan was it
Oh,
Ronan?
Ronan.
I think they were Ronan.
Yeah.
I think they either beat that team or almost did, and that like screwed my whole pool up, and we ended up like getting second in it, and then getting Optic in the first round, and that's when
No. That was when who was it? It was Elevating them. That was one of Sneaky's teams. That was when Sneaky was still
that's
playing with
right.
these guys.
They beat
That's why
us.
I'm wondering why did they break up? They've been doing so well for so long.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like I said, I think it's because of, like I said, like the Sunday hump. But like I said, it's also a team that's been together for so long. Their chemistry is kind of on point. I knew there was I didn't some of them jump kind of around a little bit. I know like Mortifies is back on the team now. Mortifies wasn't on the team prior, so there's been some.
Yeah, no. Morty went to the team. I think after he got dropped from Rise.
Then didn't yes, I think I want to say Sneak left the team. I could be wrong, but didn't Sneak leave the team after the event?
I think at one point, yeah.
Cause I'm not sure if it was someone that dropped him. Okay, yeah, they're Optic Mexico. That's who it was.
But it's just I don't know. It's just crazy because I don't know. Obviously, I'm not there. I don't understand. I'm not in the inside conversations. But if one of your problems is closing out games. You're almost doing everything right. You're taking these teams to round number 13. I do it's the same team that almost beat freaking Optic
One round
in
away
tiebreaker map round 13 or something like
with
that.
Boom.
Uh, exactly, and it's
Rocket, the
like
rocket launcher's looking at
guys
him.
are you guys are like literally this close, but instead of like closing that gap and actually finishing your team process, you just want to break up and start over. Obviously, I don't know. Maybe somebody was toxic. Maybe you had personal differences that you guys couldn't get past. I don't know, but just the outside looking in, stupid to make this roster change, and I think you guys should go back even that there's no time.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a team that you could maybe see in Gears of War 5, right? Let's say that this new kind of project for both sides of the old team doesn't work together. Maybe they do go back to what they knew and what they loved. I mean, again, we don't know the back end. We don't know what happens behind closed doors. It's one thing that it's always tough to speculate roster changes that you're not a part of because you like while some things may look stupid, you really truly don't know what goes on behind the
Yeah.
scenes, right? You don't know what was said to each other. We've seen roster changes happen for a number of different reasons. Some work out, some don't, right? That's a risk you kind of take when you let it get to that point. But it's definitely a team I could see maybe getting back together for the new game. Especially we said there's going to be what we assume because we don't know the release date of Gears 5, a pretty sizable gap kind of in between.
I mean, it is what it is, but I mean, to be honest, and this isn't a topic, but I mean, this brings it to like even Veli was saying this. You guys need to get on that content game. That gap is the perfect
Oh yeah,
time to get on the game. I was even just telling Escamani because you're gonna have all these people who slow down. You're gonna have all these people who quit making content when you should really just be pushing yourself, pushing your brand, and making sure people know who you are, so that when Gears 5 does come out and these guys are looking through who Gears 5 stream am I gonna watch? The
yeah,
guy that is already pro that I can click on his stream, or the guy who's been grinding and I got to know him and got that personal connection with over the time. Like obviously,
yeah.
I'm gonna click him first, and then maybe when scrims come out, that's when you pick and choose a little bit differently.
Yeah, we talk about it, like all the time. Like Domes would get shit sometimes during events. We'd like YouTube. Like people would say that to him
I'm
while
proud
they
of
played
Domes. I
events.
don't care.
Domes has been
Yeah.
grinding. Domes has been making moves. That's someone that when Gears 5 comes out is going to be in a very good position to capitalize on the hype of Gears 5. Guys like Shadows, the ESS gang, all those guys. Drix has been streaming like hell. Ash has obviously been doing a ton of content on both YouTube and Twitch. And so, like I said, I mean, one of the reasons we're here today is because we have the time to do it now. There's no reason we shouldn't, right? We're both ambassadors of the game, right? We're both part of the face of Gears of War as we're obviously on the talent team. There's no reason we shouldn't be doing it. So, like I said, to anyone out there, any pro players, we can't harp on it enough. Remember we had the pro player meetings in Columbus where we talked about like the benefit of it. I tell all the Latin American players, anyone who speaks Spanish, some is starting to do it. I've been telling Fran this forever. Make content in Spanish. We have such a massive following that speak Spanish and would love your content. Make your tutorial how to reaction shot and then go make how to reaction shot in Espanol, right? There's no reason not to. That is such
You're literally also getting double the money.
right. Like yeah,
Double the revenue, double the exposure,
it's
double
good for your
everything.
finances, right? It's good for your bank account, and we all love our bank accounts. But
Hell
yeah,
yeah.
that's that might be a different topic for next week. Could be the power of content, the importance of content. I know it's been hit home quite a bit, but I mean, I just think that there's no reason not to. If you're a busy guy, I'm a busy guy. If we can do it, I'm sure other pro players can too, especially when they have a little easier schedules, I would say. So yeah, I think that we're gonna make that a focal point of next week's set of topics because. I feel strongly about it. I feel like I've slacked so much up until this point, right? And now I got the cool mic and everything, so now we're good to go. But yeah, definitely something the players are missing out on.
Yeah, especially when like I can't speak for some of these people, but some of these people can literally just take what you already do, cut it up and turn it to highlights, and then bam.
And I understand.
There's
Or pay someone to do it for you. Pay an editor to do it for you, right? And he'll handle the stuff you don't want to handle. All you gotta do is play and record or play and stream. And so definitely a lot of missed opportunity there for sure. But like I said, let's maybe talk about that next week.
15-minute like basics tutorial or something. I don't know. Help them out because I'm always pushing it myself. I'm always trying to reach out to people. But my thing is this, and this is something I even told my own people like today, right? I'm willing to help a lot of people. I'm willing to give you guys advice, but the problem is I'm not going to waste my time and your time unless you guys really, really want it. Like you guys have to want it, and then I'm willing to help you, and you guys have like a resource that most people don't even have. You know what I mean? Like, me and you are both like in the industry, like you said, pretty in depth, and we come across experience through trial and error and other avenues. But you guys have like a free resource here. It's just you guys got to want it.
What Jacob's saying is y'all got to be about that action. That's what he's saying.
Enough talking. Enough talking.
But let's head over to the chat real quick. Knock asked, question for both of you. What does it take to beat Optic? Are they even beatable at their best, or does one have to hope that they aren't having a good series or on luck to best them? Okay, so I've said it time and time again. I don't think anyone's lost that team more than I have. So it is basically, I've always been under the impression that the stars have to align in order to beat them, because I can't think, just because of the makeup of that roster, if they are on their best behavior and they're playing at their best, I mean, that's five guys that, and it's gotten scarier obviously since Praise and Solars got picked up, just because of the ceiling of those players, right? So I think that I believe the stars kind of have to align. The stars align in the championship. I beat them on. You have to not only do your team have to be playing out of their fucking minds, like you also kind of have to catch them on doesn't have to be a bad day. You can't catch them on a good day, because I mean, can you think of a better roster of five on a good day? It's really, really difficult, right? They have all the right pieces in all the right places. They play well together, and again, Praise and Solars have been on that team for quite a while now. They whatever they lost with Kenny and Icy chemistry wise has been picked back up. You have Explosive, who is always going to keep you in contention. He's always going to make sure you're in a finals. And so, to me, like I said, I do believe that there is I don't know if luck's the right word, but the stars have to align on your side a little bit.
And I just think like a lot of these people, a lot of these players, like they say they're about the grind, but they think playing and scrimming's enough. And this is something that's been preached for so long, so I feel so stupid even having to say it again. But there are so many different ways to practice and up your game, right? And then you got to think of it like after you're doing all of those things, you got to think about the certain aspects outside of the game. Like I'm not saying get a good night's rest, eat a good breakfast, but if you need to make up, like say you're at 99% full potential and you really don't know how to reach that 1%, you gotta go and figure out what little bit you can do to make up for that. Like if you simply are trying everything and you can't, maybe it is trying to change up and just get some sleep. Watch some VOD and actually watch it, because I know from being in the inside, being behind the scenes, everyone claims they watch VOD, everyone claims they're about the grind, everyone claims this and that, and it's just bullshit. And 90% of the community is not about the grind.
Nothing pisses me off more than the "I just want to win" posts. So I've been thinking about doing like kind of a YouTube series, a YouTube series
$1 million.
about that. Like I want to do a whole fucking YouTube video about the "I just want to win" phrase, because you know what? No, you don't. Because 99% of people that say that don't actually want to do it, don't want to actually put the time in. What you said is so correct. So many of these guys have so much time to put forward to it, and it's easier to talk about the work than it is to do the work. And so that's why I said, up until this point, you do need some stars to align, because like I said, it's going to take putting in the crazy amount of work. Reciprocity looked so good. They were denial, but Reciprocity looked so good at Mexico. They fell a little short, but they did take a series off them. You know what? They outworked everyone. That team worked their asses off harder than anyone. They did drills. They did all kinds of stuff that no one else would do. Things that sound stupid, playing arms race, playing little drills on foundation, in between and after scrims. And so, like I said, if you want to get up there, and obviously it showed. I mean, they fell short. They had a really tragic grand finals, but they looked really, really strong. They looked a hell of a lot stronger than everyone else in the building, that's for sure. So it's all about the work. Let me catch them in the chat a little bit.
One thing is, like, if y'all want to send me some VOD, I'll go. And I know a lot of people say this and that because of my affiliation, but I'll lay one thing straight. I don't speak Spanish. I don't understand Spanish.
Gotta learn.
I don't have much to do with them at all. If they ask me my opinion, I tell them, but I don't have much. I want to see these Gears teams succeed. I want to see these teams that are on that bubble be able to burst that bubble and get in and realize that their hard work isn't for nothing. But you guys got to be able to, like, trust it. You got to be able to just let me help you guys. Like I used to do it live on stream, but then everyone's making their crap private, nobody's streaming, so like how am I going to do a VOD breakdown with no VOD?
Yeah, no, I'm catching up the chat a little bit. Like Nock just said, like Nock's talking about his schedule back on Gao too, and he used to play like we would literally be in like shotgun private lobbies until 4 a.m. learning nerd angles, stuff like that. Remember the invisible inks and all that stuff? That's back before there was salaries and Gears was a full-time job too. Don't forget that. Like those were during the days where it was just
that was a different breed.
Pure passion. It was passion. It was passion.
From the Gears 1 maybe to the early Gears 3, it was literally a different breed of people wanting it, like saying wanting to win, wanting to go through the process. Because to
I
me,
just
me
want to win.
personally, it's the process. You gotta find fun. You gotta find getting better fun. You gotta be able to take getting beat up, and then yeah, in that moment you're angry, but you know what? You know what feels good when you realize that it's not for nothing, and you realize your potential and your progress is actually paying off, and you're winning 2 maps instead of one. You're winning 9 rounds instead of seven. Whatever it may be, you guys have to really love the entire thing, not just getting on, spam your A button and your right trigger and getting kills.
Definitely agree. Like I said, it's some of the little things too, and it's identifying what progress truly means. Even in the AM scene, I get really frustrated because AMs a lot of times will talk about like just didn't see the progression, man, just didn't see the progression. It's like, well, I guess what do you gauge progression, right? Like
Yep.
if you're not smoking every map you play, it's like we're just not progressing, man. We're just doing the same mistakes. Okay, so like what are those mistakes, right? Like and we talk about them, we don't fix them. Like okay, like what have you guys identified as your proper mistakes? Have you documented anywhere? Have you done anything to give yourselves a measurable goal to go after? Probably not. It's
Exactly.
probably just off of emotion and being pissed off that you got back A'd by someone on a Thursday night at 9 p.m. Right? Like it's just again it's a lot of short term thinking and not long term thinking.
Some of these teams without a coach, and even some of these teams with coaches, don't even track that stuff, which is surprisingly.
Yeah.
Like you don't even track like round win loss, strat win loss ratio, like who's really fucking up on your team, why it's actually happening, and that's something like um that just always blew my mind. And then like the not talking thing for certain players, like I don't
Yeah, I was listening to one of the podcasts. So Hex does a lot of his
just blows my
eavesdrop
mind. I get
podcast,
frustrated.
and he had I think it was Aches on that was talking about it. And to your point about talking, right? So one of the things, and I funny enough, I sent it to my friend Rob because I play a lot of video games with him, and he's one of those players that doesn't talk that much. And so like what the point was they were making was like one of the best skills you can have, and part of why Gilbert's so good at what he does. One of the best skills you can have as a player is the ability to shoot and talk at the same time, right? The importance of shooting and talking at the same time in communication is so vital, right? It's the difference between there's such a big difference between like I have one here or 5 seconds later I'm dead, right? Or I died here, right? Those 5 seconds between like I'm fighting here versus I died here are insane, right? Those in Gears where the seconds you need are everywhere. I say that because it's an old football quote. The inches you need are everywhere, but like the seconds and the inches you need in this game are everywhere too. And so definitely a big gripe I have, but
How many times out there has your teammate called out a flank, but as soon as you turn around, you chunk? Now just imagine if you
mhm.
had 3 to 5 more seconds.
Yep. Yep, no, definitely. Like I said it's the little things, but again, we can harp on that forever.
Yeah,
We're coming up
true.
against some time, so let's go ahead and move on to our fourth and final topic, a topic that I cannot believe I am talking about right now. I
Woo.
can't believe I'm about to say these words. I'm still in a kind of a state of shock about it. Gears of War is coming to E League. That's the one on TV, my guys. I cannot believe it. I am so freaking excited for it from all levels, man. I'm excited to hopefully be a part of it. I'm excited for the game. I'm excited for the fans. I'm excited for the exposure of Gears of War to a wider audience that might not have heard of it before. I'm excited to show tell the stories of some of our players, tell the stories of some of our community, because like I said, we always talk about how we have a one of a kind community. We have all these different personalities that other games don't have. What a better way to showcase that to the world than on TBS, right? On TBS, that is going to be so good for our game.
Yep.
And what I guess if anything else, I mean, I see people talk all the time about Gears is this, Gears is that, the negativity here, there, and all in between. Like, is this not enough proof now? Like that Gears 5 is going to be stable, Gears 5 is going to be supported, and Gears 5 is going to have a cool competitive scene. Like that's E League is not. This is not a different TO. This is television. Like this is
Yep.
live television that we're going to be showcased on in front of so many people. So like I said, I was beside myself when I saw it. Jacob and I didn't know. We're on the talent team. We didn't know. No one knew. Like literally, like Coalition kept the best kept secret ever,
Yep.
because I think we were all in a state of shock.
And to me, this even backs up the reason why y'all need to get your shit together. Like
Right?
now, imagine now. I'm talking about this random Gears viewer going around in Gears 5. Who am I gonna watch when the game comes out? Now imagine somebody watches this on national television, right? Or and then it's obviously might get led through Twitch. There might be some sort of connection to Twitch because it is gonna be streamed on Twitch as well. And imagine the new viewer goes on and is like, I've never seen Gears of War before. Who do I click on?
Or what if the other way? What if it's that because there's like a docuseries going. What if in this docuseries a player identifies with a certain player that they feel like they're similar to, or they maybe want to look into more or become a fan of, and then they go to see if they can find out more about them, and they go to their YouTube first, nothing there. Okay, go to their Twitch, haven't streamed since 2018, right? It's like, well, okay, then you just kind of lost a potential fan, right? And those could exponentiate, those could be huge. And so yeah, we'll circle back a little bit to the point about content earlier. Like, this is another huge opportunity. This should be a reminder to our players and to our scene that we could all be doing more, and that the opportunities will be there. This is not a small deal. This is a huge deal for the game.
TV.
I'm still in shock. Like I said, that it's in Turner Studios. Like that's where NBA on TNT with Shaq and Charles Barkley are. Like
Yep.
that is it. Like that's big time. We've seen games, all kinds of games go on E-League, right? We've seen Counter Strike, and I know even COD did a small thing recently. I don't think they did something like this. Like games, it's not that many games get to go on E-League, so this is a huge deal.
Yeah, and then on top of that, like we're also harping on these guys for making content and start doing stuff, but y'all need to support your game as well. Y'all need to click on these streams. Y'all need to get these views on these YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, subscribe, especially subscribe on YouTube. It costs no money and it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, even if you don't like the content, support the content creators, because they're out there putting your game on the map too. So Domes grows, right? You're gonna see Gears grow a little bit because he's gonna get those new viewers in, and then that new viewers might like your shit too. Like, you can like more than one person. That's why I fully never understood the concept of, like, you guys are like getting a little bit of the pie, and you're enjoying the pie. Yes, you're competing in a game you probably didn't think would be here that long, and you're eating it. But why don't you have some ice cream too? Maybe make a root beer float. Like, why have your cake and eat it too? Like, you guys can do more. You guys can get more, and it's just, I don't know. It's just, like I said, it always confused me how you guys are just in the moment, I guess. Like, no one thinks big picture.
I say it's short-term thinking versus long-term thinking. Short-term thinking is that I need to get my Gears salary. I need to be on for scrims tonight. I need to do all that, right? And when reality, and hey, don't be wrong, I am fully supportive of the idea that you need to put in as much time as possible to be at the highest level and perfect your craft and all these cool phrases everyone throws around. Now I get that. Like, I'm behind that. But there's enough time in the day to do these two things in my eyes. I mean, like I said, I think the biggest thing that I look at is, like, when I go to the Echo Fox headquarters and I watch, like, the League of Legends guys, like that's what real practice is. That's what a real regimen is, right? And they have time still to be in the studio and to record content. Obviously, it's not necessarily them firing up, but those guys stream, League of Legends players stream, and no one practices harder than those guys across all countries, and it gets even crazier over in, like, Korea and stuff like that. So, hey, if Faker can stream, I think our guys can stream. Is that a decent comparison?
Y'all really need to just figure out, like, the Korean grind for League, and then mimic that for Gears. Figure out a way to put that in Gears.
I guess one thing let's talk about,
those guys want to win.
Since we're kind of on the topic of E-League, though, let's talk about. I mean, from the information we know today, there is a docu-series, it looks like, and an invitational tournament. So I don't remember the exact split of how they're going to work, but we're going to have, I think it was, I can't remember the amount of, again, the small details of it, but there's an invitational tournament, and there is going to be a docu-series. So I think that's a huge opportunity for us too, because, like I said, the docuseries, I think, is gonna be a good way for people to get exposed to those personalities that we talk about, and people we talk, to show that we're different than normal esports, right? Because all the time we always talk about how we're so much different than normal esports, and I wish that we could, have a bigger platform to show them on. Well, the platform is going to be there, so I think that's honestly, I look at that as actually a bigger opportunity than showcasing the invitational tournament. I'll be honest. Yep. Because I think that gameplay, if the game is good, gameplay will be great, right? And that's going to be a thing for Gears in general, right? If the game is good, we're going to thrive. But I think that what can really propel us is, like I said, if people get to identify with our personalities that we truly feel are different, right? We can make fans out of people for more reasons than just that they can reaction shot. We can make fans for more reasons than they wear an Optic Gaming jersey or Reciprocity jersey, right? We want to make people fans of our people. Right? We want to make people fans of our players, of our personalities, and to fall in love with the people that are on the stage more so than, like, what's on the jersey or what's on the stage. That's kind of my opinion on it.
Yeah, apparently it says it's a uniquely passionate look through the lens of 6 of the most well-known professional players. So 6 episodes in this series will explore each player's intense connection to play the game as they navigate the transition between Gears 4 and Gears 5.
Okay.
balancing the untapped potential of new opportunities with the fallout from past decisions. So it's basically a little bit of a story, what it sounds like, a story between Gears 4 to Gears 5, six. I don't know how they're selecting the players, but six players. Maybe each episode is a different player. I don't know, but I mean, to me, like kind of like what Ryan said, that you're going to be able to connect with your players like never before because like this is on national television.
Yeah, that's a cool. That's really cool. So it sounds like you said. There's six players. So we're gonna get potentially players from all walks of life, right? One thing about our game is that our game is pretty international, right? We have players in Europe, we have a scene in Latin America, we have a rabid Latin American scene. So you already know that they're gonna put something about that. So that'll be really really cool too. And
Yep.
like I said, I think it's just a great. I still can't believe that we're talking about Gears of War in E League. Like that still hasn't quite hit me yet, right? And then not only that, like let's not forget too, like there's an invitational Gears of War 5 tournament. Like we've been chomping at the bit to see anything we can about Gears 5, right? This is gonna be competitive, our favorite players right in front of our eyes playing.
I'm interested to see which teams are and
Yeah,
how to
yeah,
get invited.
yeah. I mean, I guess the invite process
Go
still
into
really
more
isn't.
details, essentially. Like,
Yeah, for sure. I think that. I think that the first few are pretty obvious, right? Like, I think you're gonna get your optics gonna be there. Shocking.
yeah, I mean,
They would be dumb not to put like Rec there. Probably Rise. I think that from there, maybe like you said, like I wouldn't be surprised if you get a knock at the door about Ghost being there, right? That's a team that's
I
gonna
would,
have a fan
yeah,
base,
I would think
best team
Ghost
in
and
Europe,
Elevate. Yep.
right? So get some of the other fan bases, and then from there, I mean, I'm not really sure. I guess maybe
Return of Jim Bob and Mind Freak. What's up?
put Jim Bob on TV right this second.
Where's Bondi at? Let me know.
I need Jim Bob. I need a whole lot of Bondi. I need Dub and Gun. I need the boys. I need the boys on
Jim
stage
and the boys.
with the flag. So, like I said, it's just that I'm super excited about that. Like I said, once we know more, of course, we'll make sure to cover it. But just a huge opportunity. I guess, like I said, I don't, because we don't have many details. There's not a ton we can talk about outside of the opportunity that it brings. But it's just something that
You're gonna have to stay tuned to find out more to the
yeah,
show because we will discuss it in the future.
same way we gotta wait for it. Yeah. I guess, like I said, that's kind of the last sort of topic. I guess maybe let's take the last 10 or 15 minutes, maybe to answer any questions anyone has in the chat. If you guys
Yeah.
have anything that we haven't talked about or you'd like to hear about, I mean, it could be anything in the world really. Like we're both pretty open books. We've both been around Gears for a long time. We both kind of work in esports. So if you have any kind of esports questions, maybe or anything game related, esports related, if you guys want to talk about how my team whooped his ass tonight in All Stars, I'd love to talk
No
about
one
that as
talk
well.
about that, dude.
As
No one
I
talk
am,
about that.
Jacob's lucky that this show is right after fight night because I would be spending this last hour flaming everyone on Twitter about you'd be tweeting pictures of me with crowns on, everything you could think of. So Jacob,
Finding pictures of you and Choche together.
oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'm gonna do
Good
that.
friend.
Me and the champ.
But one chat says, do you think they're gonna tighten up the rules on trash talk since it's on TV? That's a good question, actually. And
Um,
I think they will to an extent.
I don't think they will because what I'll say is I don't think they're gonna do listen-ins. So I don't because there's no listen-ins. They want the trash talk, right? Because they want the clips of get the out of
And then
here
they
and
can
all
really,
this
they
shit,
can really
right?
control it too.
Right. Keep in mind, this is television, right? They can make that stuff look however they want to make it look, right? So like, I think that it'll be the trash talk will actually be something that they gravitate towards. Really, if anything, I think it'll be something that they kind of help showcase because we have a very passionate player base that no one else really has.
Yep. I just think they in my opinion like the what is the word I want to use, like the bar brawl type that we seem to be from
Yeah.
years, the trash talk, the in your face, basically pointing and singling out people. They like that type of thing, but I think there's going to be that line that you don't overdo it, and I don't think anybody really has overdone it, especially maybe since the Speedy Shock thing.
Then
But I think
they scrim together. They scrim together the next week. So
yeah,
when that
but
deep.
I think it's gonna be just don't say this and this, everything else you've been doing.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. It's a good question. I think some of the personalities in the Gear scene are so unique. Yeah, a lot of people do. And like I said, like the Call of Duty guys love watching our stuff because we're different. So I think that we have definitely a cool community that we can showcase. I think what better place than on everyone's television screen, if anything.
Yeah.
And Dirty Ray Vaughn says, this is an interesting one. Dream roster for each Gears.
For each Gears.
For each Gears.
One,
You got
Atmo Genetics has to be in there.
Atmo Gen, and then...
I'll throw Scar because I've always been a huge fan of Scar. And I know he was a beast at Gears.
Scar
He
won
was
chips,
a
yeah.
Beast. The Atmo Gen, Scar, and me, I guess.
I mean, right? I feel like you got maybe I mean Puff, but then if you go Atmogen Puff,
Ooh.
you already have 3/4 of the Infinity team, which obviously was
Yeah, that's a
a
good.
really really good team. Someone from the Insanes. I mean, the Insanes obviously were a very successful team as
Yeah.
well. There's also so many just like skilled players in the game who didn't like win chips, right? You got the guys I mean Boabis won the first event, and then it kind of disappeared. Boabis one of the players that was always noted as one of the highest skilled players in Gears One.
Yep.
So, so I think
And it's just interesting.
Gears
I,
Two.
I damn.
Gears Two, man, you got
Prison.
it.
Prison Killer.
I,
I like
I'm
Killer.
not. I'm not picking Noah. Noah's not allowed to be on my All Star team.
Okay, then we'll pick Killer then.
Killa, I like. Let's see. Go down the line, man.
I
Like,
think just Killer was an amazing host, and in that game, host mattered. I think Killer was a
yeah, I
true
know for
dominant
sure.
host.
Killa was insane. I mean, towards the end, like players like in maybe some bias here, like players like Eternity. Eternity was insane.
Oh yeah,
Eternity was
100%.
insane
Yeah.
at Gears of War 2.
Especially towards the end.
You had guys like
Ribs, obviously.
Wildy was in the heavy come up towards the end of Gears 2 right before it stopped.
That legacy roster wasn't bad at the end.
Yeah, for sure. So I think I'm with the kill. I think the Killa pick is automatic. They won too much. Like to
Shit,
not
maybe
not put him on
Wildy
there.
could,
I would throw.
Yeah.
Dylan was insane at Gears 2. I throw Eternity on there. Let's see. Jordan was really good,
Yep.
but Jordan's kind of my prison boat. I can't hype him up too much.
That's
You know what I'm saying?
I feel the same way.
I gotta keep him humble.
Jordan's spot behind me.
Y'all know who's coaching that team though. Burger is coaching that team.
Oh, 100%. Burgers.
Then they don't forget the Get Bronco guys, dude. Like the Get Bronco guys were sick.
Yo, damn, damage points in Gears 2 was just insane, dude. The
Like,
amount of times I literally see him
Sinel's-
just outstrafe everybody in a 1v2 situation.
Sinel's was
And the-
insane. Dude, Affinity
I'm
was
just thinking of
like a
players I
top
don't
player at the end of the
remember.
game. Like, dude, there was like I said, it's fun to think back with this. Maybe that could be like a YouTube video we do is
Doc.
going back through time and making like a new set of rosters across like a what if maybe like make a new set of
Maybe a future
rosters
episode.
across every single that'd be
Throwback
fun.
episode.
What if we did like a draft?
Ooh.
Get like maybe get you, me, Colin, Blaze, and we'll do like a draft
A
back
draft
in
and
back in
fan
time
vote.
and see like how that would turn out.
I think that'd be pretty neat. That would be pretty neat because like as we keep going, I just keep remembering more and more players. Because Wingos was a Don back then.
Yeah.
I know you mentioned Willie's Genesis. That's when Genesis was really coming up.
Guys like Prospect,
Yeah.
really. I mean, there's just so many good
There's
players.
so much. Jay, dude, I can't believe I didn't even think of Jay. Distortion. I know Distortion's all like Fortnite now, but Distortion.
I would need some help with the production, but I think like I think it'd be fun to do like a go back in time with the four of us again and redraft teams from every era of Gears, right? 'Cause then you go over to Gears 3, right? Gears 3 you have to have like what Praise and Nasty are automatic.
Mental.
Mentally, yeah, Billy started showing up to tournaments towards the end. Billy was obviously insane at the game, and then I mean, what someone from
Kenny, yeah, like that's where Kenny came up. Kenny really did come up in Gears 3.
Yogurt.
He went from really playing GBs to Blaze to being like one of the top dogs in Gears 3.
And then Yogurt was also insane. Yo, Reaper, thanks for the bits. Appreciate you stopping by, dude. But
Try to think who else.
like I said, Yogurt.
Praise, Secret played back then. Like who else? Who else was
I mean,
top demo?
Fran.
Excels. How do we forget Excels, man?
Oh yeah, like
Especially in Gears 2, Gears
remember
3. Excels wasn't really known in Gears 2. He was known as like people thought he had a mod, but in Gears 2, Excels was freaking one of the best hosts as well.
dude, Excels and Fran played Gears 3 together.
Yeah.
Can you believe that? Like two
what
natural
event was
leaders.
that? That was the no headset event.
Yep.
Winter ball, the first winter ball where Crush was in the crowd chugging half a handle.
That's what we're gonna do. That's gonna be a future episode. Let's see if we can maybe I'll have to figure out some stuff on production with pictures and stuff. Let's see if we can try to do a fantasy draft in time and maybe I don't know if, depending on how long it takes, break it up. Each episode could be an era or just blow it all out and do it all in one. But I think that would be super fun.
I'd be down for something like that.
So
That was exciting.
Thank you for the inspiration, Dre. I think we're going with this. Let me kind of scroll back up some of the questions. I don't want to skip anyone. Is Veli done with Gears? No, Veli's just doing Rainbow Six right now. He got a super cool opportunity for Rainbow, and so he took it. And he's in Europe right now doing super big things. But you know, Veli's an OG Gears guy. He'll be back.
Is anybody ever really done with Gears?
Right? So I'm saying. Ryan,
Can't pick Gears.
what do you do for Echo Fox now that you're done coaching but still part of the org? So now I have moved on to the GM role. So I'm the GM of a couple different departments and do some other kind of back end projects for them on that front. When I retired from coaching, that was kind of the next natural. Was kind of already doing it, to be honest, but that was kind of the next natural progression for me within the organization when I stayed on. So that's kind of what I'm doing right there. And I got my Echo Fox 3D printed thing, which is awesome. What else we got? Do you expect any of the big teams to make roster changes in the transition to Gears 5?
Yes and no.
Yes. Yes.
I think yes and no. I think Boston's going to play a big part in that, especially if teams underperform. But I don't think Optin's going to make a change.
I think everyone but Optic's making a change.
I don't think Rise will. I really don't think Rise will make a change.
I can see Rise sticking, actually. Rise. I can totally see Rise sticking. That's a fair one. I think Optic for sure. From there, it's fucking open season, dude. Like everyone. I guess we have contracts, but
if Optic makes a roster change, everybody's making a roster change. For the most part, I would think, because then everybody's gonna try and be shady and try and grab the guy who got dropped from Optic. It's usually what always happens.
Yeah, I guess, like I said, I was just thinking about. I mean, one thing that's different now is that contracts are in play. It's something that hasn't been something in Gears until Gears of War kind of 4 and UE a little bit. But that's one thing to think about too. But at the same time, I mean, everyone's going to kind of have the same mentality that they want to make the best possible roster coming into the new game. I guess one thing to think about now would be the fact that there is this invitational. So I don't know how that's going to work as well. So that's kind of one thing that players might think about too.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else we got? What change do you expect Rec to make? I think that if there was someone that they would get rid of, it'd probably be Rezik, if I had to guess.
Really? I think
Rezik or Sleepy.
I think actually this is gonna shock it, and like I think there might be a small possibility that Icy might not fit with them.
Icy and Fran love playing together though.
I do believe they do, but I think there's just a few hard-headed issues that they might not be able to get past. I guess into the next game if they don't perform well in Boston.
I mean, I would rather they just stay together because they're, like I said, a really good team that plays really well together. But I think I just look at like the personalities on it. Like Fran and Icy like playing together. I know Fran loves playing with Rush, for example. Fran and Yachty are close, and then I know Yachty and Rush like playing together. So I just feel like
I freaking miss Rush and Yachty.
Might be nothing like I said, amazing player. The rest of Rossi is insane. I feel like if someone were to get odd man outed, like I just think that might be.
It probably would be Rezik though. It probably would be Rezik. I just think. Just hearing a lot from a lot of different people who played with IC, he sometimes can be a very, very difficult person.
Well, believe me, no one felt that more than me recently. But then I've been also told at the same time that a lot of that is gone now with the new team. I think after they you know what it was like I think post like the Speedy team, that's when he kind of like made a sort of a go forward change.
Probably wake up call.
Right.
Like, to me, like I feel bad for Speedy because Speedy is almost the complete package if he just like fix his attitude, and that's something I've always talked to him one-on-one on, and I truly hope the best for him because that's somebody who I always look after. I always root for, regardless of what team he's on.
Yeah, those questions are tough sometimes. It makes it sound like we're like slandering someone. We're not. It's just like
no hate,
if there was someone to go,
I like IC.
Yeah, no, for sure. What else we got? Let's see, I'm catching up right now. Reaper said, "Come back to Gears." Reaper, I'm in Gears. Oh, you mean Echo Fox? I didn't go anywhere. You know me. I went straight from the coaching stage over to the desk. I wasn't going anywhere. I wasted no time.
I know that feel.
Yeah, dude. Nothing was more heartbreaking than like because I did the Columbus Invitational. Nothing was more heartbreaking. Luckily, that was wasn't an open event, but man, when I had to like get up there and like watch my old team like play, that hurt. That was that hurt.
Doing well, it's like you really just feel bad.
And they had demo behind him, so I had to watch Edwin. I had to watch Edwin up there with my boys. I was like, come on, you had to really do that. Dude, that's my heart.
Oh God.
But no, that was tough. But
good experience though.
Oh yeah, no, like I said, I love casting. I always tell everyone analyst test, we want to call it. I love that. Like I said, one of the things that I was worried about missing the most from being on that team was like the brotherhood, the camaraderie, like the feel of being on a team, the feel of wearing that jersey with my guys, obviously being on stage. But now I have a new team, right? Now I have a new set of guys that I feel close with, a new set of guys that I can learn from and bond with. So I now I look at it as more so making a team change than making a transition. I joined a new team.
Okay.
Reaper, do you think E-League is ready for the rawness that is Gears? I hope they are. I'll tell you that much. Why?
I think they do simply because they have to have done their research. I think they know what they're
It's
getting
different.
themselves into. I know they know what to expect.
Why isn't
Even though it is different, but I just think they've done their research and they know what to expect and they know how they're gonna handle it.
I just think it's really different, so I think that's going to be something that's cool for them. Another question we got: why isn't God Plays the same Savage he was from season one? I actually think God Plays is still really good. I just
Yeah.
think that like I don't think much has changed. I think the game has changed. I think in season one the game was played a lot. Which is the crazy thing about it, the game was played slower and he plays really fast, and so I think that was more beneficial to him. So I think the game speed increasing as much as it is, he doesn't really stand out quite as much as he used to, but he's still a very very good Slayer. He's on a very good team, so I don't necessarily see him changing as much. I think the game around him changed more. And
Yeah, no,
also he was
I agree with
suspended.
that.
He was suspended, so like he had to go a few events without playing, without scrimming every day, and so I think at this point now he's like when he first came back, he's on my team. He was a little on the shakier side, but now he said he seems to be right back where he was. I think the game is just at such a higher pace.
Yeah, and that's something like we said. It's just the game is just different now. So like when a lot of people wouldn't necessarily play as aggressive as God plays was kind of known for back then. Now it's kind of like everybody's go-to. So you might not even notice God plays being the same savage that he is because everybody's that now. Everybody just takes turns. You might have two of the same people on the team. So like let's just say Rushies and Icy for an example. One game Icy might go off, one game Rushies might go off. That doesn't mean one is lesser than the other. It just means just might not be noticed.
Definitely. So we'll answer a couple more questions. Like I said, we're kind of going up against time, so let's get a couple more out of the way, and then we will probably take off for the night. Let's see what we got. Could you ever see any of the core three Optic members leave to prove they can win without being on that dominant team? I don't, man.
No.
I don't think there's a
No,
reason to.
I
I don't.
would.
Yeah, I
I
don't think there's a
they
reason to.
they're friends, so like they're just yeah. No, I mean that's just kind of it's like you can go into details, you can go into theories of why you don't think that is happening, but that I also don't think Gears is big enough for them to care to prove they can win without each other.
For sure. And like I said, maybe
Not yet, at least.
we'll round off with Albert's. I think this is a question because I think this could go a few different ways, and this will spring off to a couple different ideas. Execution in Gears 5. I guess we'll tailor it to being execution in Gears 5 from a competitive standpoint. So for me, I think that there can be a world where we have multiple game types, but it has to live in a world where escalation isn't as long as it is. And so this question becomes kind of two-part because it talks about execution and talks about escalation. So for me, execution, while I think also needs some tweaking. I don't know how it's going to be tweaked. We happen to have short-term, and we forget that some of these execution maps took a zillion freaking years, and we forget how campy execution got across multiple games, and we forgot how boring that was to watch. So I think that there needs to be something fixed there. I don't know if it's maps. I don't know if it's some kind of fucking Fortnite storm that pushes you. I don't know what it is. Something that moves the progress of the map a little bit. Maybe like Avalanche. Like Avalanche used to have the snow come down on the map that exposed the boom, that whole or whatever the hell it did, and that would move the map there. And so something like that could help. But like I said, if you have an execution series, it's like 15 minutes, but then it's in a best of three or whatever with an escalation thing that's 45 minutes. Like that can't work. That to me that doesn't work, right? If you look at Call of Duty, look at Halo, look at other games, that their maps are a little different in time, but they're all fairly similar.
Yeah. I just I don't know. I think they could do something like and I always hate to mention Judgment, but when Judgment had that breakthrough game type that was one flag CTF, I think they were onto something. I really think they were onto something.
Judgment had so many like silver linings to them that were like fire.
It just didn't work as a whole. Like it didn't come together. But I think they were onto something with that game type. I think there were certain flaws in it, obviously. But if you put two flags on each side, make the grabbing similar to how Judgment had it, and just 10 minutes, whoever kept the most flags.
Yeah, like
Then you know the game's gonna be 10 minutes long. So it's like I don't fully understand the concept or how to program it like that. But I think that's a good idea for a game type that we could hopefully see.
I think that a CTF could work. I was talking actually to the Australian team about that when we were in Mexico. Like, I think there can be a world where CTF works, but like I said, I don't think that you can have just escalation and execution together. I think there has to be three game types, and it has to work kind of like Call of Duty, honestly, where it's like you have the hard point, and then you have the search.
Execution.
Then you have that third map in the middle. It's kind of the weird one. That could be your escalation, and then you go back to the hard point, and then finish it with the search again. So you can have like base game types, and then have like that one in the middle that's like super super different. I guess they're all really different, but you know what I mean. Like have one that's kind of like the outlier that doesn't have two in the cycle. I think that could be a way, but I think it has to be three game types. I don't think that you can live with just two. I think that'd be weird. It'd be weird in a best of three level too. So that's kind of my opinion on it. But like I said, I think escalation needs to be shorter. That we could maybe make that as a whole different topic for our next show too, is just escalation as a whole, especially as we start to round into Gears 5, because I think that there's some changes to be made there.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing Klay Thompson leaving the Warriors in the chat. No, I don't do. Hell no. They win in the chip free, and they sailing off to the sunset, and then they're re-signing. But different topic for a different show. Let's maybe do basketball curse next time. But yeah, I guess that's kind of what I got for now, Jacob. I guess, do you any?
Yep.
Maybe we'll just do some kind of closing thoughts. Like I said, guys, I appreciate everyone stopping by. This was our first time doing this. I was nervous as all hell to do this and launch all this and make it all work. So I appreciate you guys coming. But yeah, Jacob, you got any kind of closing thoughts?
Besides, congratulations on the All Stars. I'm ready for the event already. I know Ghost is boot camping pretty hard right now, and then obviously excited for E-League and the future for Gears of War. Make sure you guys are a part of it. Get you guys' shit together, and then we can ride this life together. You know.
Definitely so, and thank you again, guys, so much for joining us. We're gonna do this every week, so we will be live next week. I'm not sure if there's no fight next. We're not going to be live next week. We're going to be traveling to Boston. Nope. We are not live next week, but
the Wednesday after the event. You know,
we're going to figure out. Yeah, maybe, yeah. Actually, I think that'd probably be a great opportunity. The Wednesday after the event, we will be back. We'll be talking. Probably do a whole show on kind of what happened in Boston and breaking that down. But thanks again, guys, so much for stopping by. Thanks again for supporting the show. It'll get better. I promise. I'll stop stuttering as much. We're gonna add some guests in the future. So the part of the reason that we did do just the two of us this time was just because it's kind of an introduction for us, kind of an intro to the show, intro to what we're doing. We totally have plans going forward to have guests each time. We're gonna bring on, like I said, whoever the hell we find that week, whoever we want to talk to. We'll definitely be involving some of the casting team too. Obviously, it's called the Caster's Curse, so we'll definitely be getting some of the other talent involved. But just want to thank you guys all again for coming. Look forward to kind of continue to create content for you. This will be on YouTube, so we are going to make sure that we put all this stuff on YouTube as well in case you did miss tonight's episode. So I will make sure I get that recording up there tonight, hopefully, and get it all uploaded and everything. I'm also trying to figure out how to navigate YouTube a little bit too. Free burger, don't forget, guys. Free burger. If you do want a free burger, sure, hit up Nunez. It's his old project, but we got a free burger, and I think that's everything I got for the night, guys. Thank you so much for being a part of this, and I will see you guys on the Wednesday after Boston for the Caster's Curse, and maybe I'll throw the stream up this weekend for some other stuff. Maybe we'll do, I guess there is a 2K on Sunday. Maybe we'll do another 2K viewing party on Sunday, and then maybe a couple things in between, but that'll do it for Jacob and I. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and we will see you the Wednesday after Boston for episode 2 of the Caster's Curse.